Selamat pagi everybody and welcome back to another trip report. Today I'm here at Denpasar's Ngurah International Airport and today I'm going to be flying Singapore Airlines on board a Boeing 787-10 from here in Denpasar over to Singapore. Okay, so as I said, I'm here at the international terminal of Denpasar's Gusti Ngurah International Airport. It's an interesting departures area. It looks really beautiful. The whole airport is quite beautiful. However, it's not very efficient, so I'm here quite early. And once again, as I mentioned earlier, I'm flying Singapore Airlines 787-10. It's my first time on the type, and I'll be in economy class as per usual. So now let's get up here and find the check-in in this hot and busy airport. It would appear that to enter the departures area you do need to put your bags through a scanner and possibly show your ticket. Security is very tight at all Indonesian airports. Alright, so I went through the first little step of security and it wasn't that hard for me to find the Singapore Airlines check-in desks at section B. So there's no self-check-in here because it's an international flight, and an airport like Bali I wouldn't have expected that. So now let's go over here to the very busy line and check in. Okay, check-in completed. They were super friendly there, however it is quite a big line, but that's the case everywhere here at Denpasar Airport, no matter what airline you fly. So I used the online check-in desk line. So it's the same line for regular check-in and online, but I did it online. However, I will show you, I had a lot of issues. It ended up working, but like I couldn't change my seat and it just kept giving me an error, and then just randomly it eventually worked but still gave me an error. I'll put the error message on screen now. But yeah, anyways, eventually managed to get through check-in. I have my boarding pass and I also, it's in my bag, but I do have my boarding pass and my bags checked through all the way to my end destination. So now let's go through security, I guess. Okay, so all security checks, immigration and all of that has now been completed. I think it's now been, hold on, I'll check. Yeah, it has now been an hour since I entered the terminal building, so definitely leave a fair bit of time because this airport is really slow, and for people who come here often, it's just something that you expect. It's quite a notoriously slow airport. Okay, so as I said, security checks were completed. Check-in took 35 minutes, security and immigration took 25. So yeah, it took quite a long time, but they also had automated systems for passport control and the boarding pass check to enter security. They were just sitting there. I'm not sure why they didn't use them. Anyways, I'm now through, so enough complaining, and now let's go all the way through duty free here. So there's so much here. If you want anything really, you should be able to find it here. So as I said, now let's head through and to the gate. I don't have lounge access today despite me being a Velocity Gold member, because the conditions are it has to be a Singapore Airlines operated lounge in order for me to have access. Made it past duty free finally. Here's the kind of like eating hall. There is more cafes and stuff out near the gates, but most of it's here. The lounges are also here. If you're flying in business class with Singapore Airlines, I think you'll have access to, I think it's the Premier Lounge. There's also a Concordia Lounge, which I think you can pay to get into. But yeah, you can get into the Premier Lounge, I believe. And I'm not sure about if you have KrisFlyer Gold, then maybe you can get in as well, but I can't. There's also the, as I said, Concordia Lounge and Garuda Lounge over there as well. And there's also quite a few food options. So I'm just going to explore a little bit, and I'll probably see you at the gate. Just went to the Concordia Lounge to see how expensive it was. I was kind of thinking maybe it'd be $30 or something, because the domestic one here in Bali is only $15, but it's actually $50 or 500,000 rupiah, which is far too expensive in my opinion. I guess if you have a long time here and you don't like plane spotting, then it's probably worth it, but not for me today. Here's my plane for today, pulling into gate 6 instead of gate 4 that 2 planes, including ours, are supposed to be going from. This is 9 Victor, Sierra Charlie Lima. It's a 2019 built and delivered Boeing 787-10 Dreamliner, which is the longest variant of the 787 family. These aircraft operate mostly medium haul routes and a few regional ones. Now let's head a couple gates down to gate lounge number 6. By the way, a little bit of information about Singapore Airlines. They've actually, at the time of recording, recently been rated the new best airline in the world. So I'm interested to put that to the test today, though I think my connecting flight will be the video dedicated to it. As for Singapore Airlines 787-10s, they currently have 17 in the fleet, with another 14 on order. The Singapore Airlines fleet also consists of the A350-900, the A380-800, the A350-900 ULR, the Boeing 777-300ER, the 787-10, the Boeing 737 MAX 8, and the Boeing 737-800. The backbone of their fleet is A350s, but they have a fair few 777s and 787-10s as well. Now time to board. Since I have Velocity Gold, I have priority.
Thank you.
Terima kasih. Garuda SkyTeam 777 is taxiing back there. Now let's hop on board our 787-10. Good afternoon.
Hi, across and to your right, please.
Thank you. Welcome on board the Singapore Airlines 787-10. There's 36 seats in business class in a 1-2-1 layout, and then there's 301 in economy in a 3-3-3 layout. My seat for today is 62K when boarding from the front on the left side of the aircraft. Here's my seat. Nice view over the back of the wing. Okay, welcome on board the Singapore Airlines Boeing 787-10. Now let's go through the seat features. Okay, so the cabin crew just came out handing additional headphones because the other ones are like little earbuds. Excuse the noises behind me. This one seems... Oh, I think you have to put the muffle thingies on. So yeah. Anyways, now let's have a look at the seat features. So legroom is really good, especially for a regional flight. It's 32 inches, 81 centimetres. And here's the seat back pocket, which actually has 4 pouch thingies if you include this one. So that's super handy, like I can put my headphones in here. That's all good. My headphones in there, and then I could put my phone in here and my boarding pass in there, just for example. And then just here, you have the main seat back pocket, where, oh, they also gave me a kids thingy, I don't know what that is, and I also don't really want to use it. But just here, there's a sick bag, safety information card, in-flight Wi-Fi card, and the crisp shop. Now there's also an IFE which is really big, which is very nice, so we'll go through that a bit later. It also just says please wait, or it did a second ago anyway, so I'm not sure what's going on there. Just here you have some little button control-y thingies, including, I think that's a flight attendant call button, so you don't have to reach up there. And there's also individual reading lights, however there aren't any individual air vents. Then there's a USB port here, a little storage thingy here, a separate cup slot, which is beautiful, cup holder, sorry. There's also the headphone jack here, and here is the tray table, which is foldable, and there's also a mirror here as well. So you can use it halfway or fully open like so. You can pull it out a bit as well, in fact quite a bit. It's a little bit stiff though. It's also clean, which is very nice. Not sure what this thing is here, maybe just for decoration. There's also a universal power socket. There's 2 between every 3 seats, so you have to share. There's a classic Dreamliner window dimmers. And finally, the headrest, which is adjustable 6 ways. Very nicely as well. And the seatback padding is pretty thick, but it's not double, like some airlines have. The seat width is 17.3 inches, which is not too bad. And the seat is the Recaro Single 3710, which is a very popular seat these days. And it's also used on the A350-900, and I think the A380 as well. By the way, I keep figuring out new features, I do apologise. It's not very smooth, but you can also adjust the IFE very much. I feel like I'm down low anyway, so I'm not going to want it like this. So overall, I would say that the seat features, especially for a regional flight, are absolutely amazing, and I wouldn't expect anything more from Singapore Airlines on this flight.
Bali, Singapore. And up front here in the cockpit, my co-pilot senior officer Daryl Wong is assisting me in flying this sector. And in the cabin, the dedicated team of cabin crew will take good care of you. And cabin crew are led by your flight manager, Miss CJ Hong. And together, CJ and the team will make sure that you're safe, pleasant, and comfortable flight with us. Right now, everybody's on board. We have a few more of your bags be stored downstairs. Once all that is done, we'll close up all the doors and we'll get going. As we get closer to Singapore, Senior First Officer Daryl will update you on the latest weather to expect in Singapore. And of course, give you a better estimate on the arrival time. Once again, a very good afternoon and welcome on board.
Now time for pushback.
We will now demonstrate the use of the safety equipment on this aircraft. Please give your attention to the crew member at the front of your cabin. First, fasten your seatbelt lightly and tighten it. Available for children under the age of 4. In case of decompression, oxygen mask will automatically drop over your nose and mouth. Pull the elastic strap over your head and tighten it by pulling the end of the strap. Remain calm and breathe normally. Your oxygen supply is now regulated, and it is normal that the oxygen bag does not fully inflate. If you are traveling with a child, attend to yourself first, then to the child. Please note where the emergency exits on this aircraft are located. There is a safety information card in your seat pocket that contains additional information. Please read it carefully before takeoff. Thank you for your attention.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome on board this Nice Dreamliner to Singapore. We are pleased to be carrying passengers of our Star Alliance partners. All electronic devices must now be put in flight mode. Please approach the cabin crew if you require assistance. We wish you a pleasant flight.
Taxiing past some interesting aircraft now. I'm not sure what's going on with the IFEs. Normally they would play the safety demo on there. To be Nusa Dua down there, one of the main holiday destinations in Bali. IFEs are now online. So we're not taking the route this is showing. It's quite the long way to Singapore.
Apologies. At the moment, the in-flight entertainment program is being rebooted. It will take a few moments before it will be fully functional. Thank you for your patience and understanding. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay, so we're now still climbing up here through 29,000 feet. Since I have just had a look at the IFE. The online browser Criswell thingy still isn't working, so hopefully that'll get fixed soon, as the captain said. But yeah, I'll have a look at the in-flight entertainment in a minute, but you can see the map here. it's transitions, but I think that it's interactable. Yeah, the in-flight map is interactable, but you can also just have it on autoplay. Getting some nice views over the Indonesian islands out there. And also I completely forgot to mention earlier, since there's so much stuff to review, that a pillow was also provided when I got to my seats. There's no blanket since it's a shorter flight, but I wasn't necessarily expecting a pillow. However, I guess you probably could expect it for a 5-star airline. Well, theoretically, the world's best airline. It's made out of a super nice fabric and really soft. So, great pillow. And so far, few little things that could be improved upon. But yeah, so far, great flight. Okay, so here's the Chris World thing. Just after I finished that recording, it started working. After turning off my VPN, it seems to be starting to work. It's strange. I guess maybe it has something to do with being in the sky, but the VPN thing on almost every airline I've been on, you have to turn it off in order to use the entertainment systems. Okay, here we are. Okay, so it does appear that as a KrisFly member, you can have 2 hours of free Wi-Fi, which is really good. It is only a 2-hour flight, so that's pretty amazing. For a longer flight, it's still good, but I will admit, and I believe that they actually are rolling it out in only a week, if I'm not wrong, but I think you do get complimentary access, or they're planning to introduce that. Here's the Wi-Fi plans if you need to buy the rest. And I actually think that, especially not for a flight like this, but $16 if you're going on like a 12-hour flight is pretty good, I would say. Welcome to the Singapore Airline Boeing 787-10 Dreamliner look. Now let's have a look at the room features. First off, I'd like to say it feels like a spacious rectangle box. It's very boxy, but I'm not saying it's a bad thing. There's lots of space here. You can pretty easily jog on the spot if you want. Not sure why, but if you want to, then it's the option because it's actually very nice and sizable. I haven't been in a whole lot of international loos, but I can imagine there are some bigger, but this one seems like a pretty good size. There's some, I don't know, something in there, and then just here, oh, toothbrush. That's actually really impressive, especially for a 2-hour flight. Hand lotion, soap, and nicely, was not expecting that, a nicely sized basin, and then tissues and stuff, and of course, duo of co-pilots. Overall, a really good room from Singapore Airlines. I better get back to the seat because meals are about to come. Okay, we are now up here at our cruising altitude of, well, it's 11,582 metres. Not sure if I can switch it to 38,000 feet, there you go. The very friendly cabin crew over there just came around to do the meal service. So the beverage options are apple orange juice, I think there's tea and coffee, and there's also wine. I assume there might be soft drinks as well, and I don't know about cocktails. I wasn't really in a position to ask since I'm definitely not old enough. Anyways, let's go through what we have. So there was the option of the laksa, which is what I got, or a chicken pasta. So there's a nice looking bread roll here, however it's airy, not airy, so I can't really feel how soft it is, but it looks nice. Then in here we have a little entree thingy. That looks like maybe a little chocolate chip banana cake, I think. I feel like I remember that from when I looked online, because I think it's like 10 days out or something, you can preview what the meal options are most likely to be. Now let's have a look at the laksa. Here's the laksa. You might be thinking that the meal portion is very small. I'm not sure how small it actually is, because sometimes with these boxes there's a lot in it. I do like that it's made of cardboard. It's better for the environment as opposed to those plastic rectangle things. And I opted for a tea, which is up here, and a orange juice, and also on the plates comes a milk and butter. Overall, this is a spectacular regional meal service, I believe, assuming it tastes alright, from Singapore Airlines. The cabin crew are now coming around, I think, to give out more drinks if anyone wants them, and also collect some rubbish. Also, this bun is really nice and soft. And the laksa, there is some stuff in it that I didn't really want, but the actual flavour and the stuff that I am having is delicious. Okay, we're now experiencing a fair bit of, actually I wouldn't say a fair bit, but a bit of turbulence. It only really just started. I finished my meal. In conclusion, it was a fantastic meal from Singapore Airlines. It was choc chip banana cake that was in here, and that was really delicious. The bread roll was probably the best I've ever had on a plane. It was like a brioche type bun. The laksa was also really nice, and tea was pretty good, and so was the orange juice. So overall, a massive thumbs up from me for Singapore Airlines meal service on this 2-hour and 10-minute flight or something like that. I should be descending
Good
soon.
afternoon to you, ladies and gentlemen. This is your first officer speaking. In approximately 10 minutes, you'll be commencing a descent into Singapore Changi International Airport. Based on current estimates, you'll be pleased to know that we will be arriving ahead of schedule of expected landing time of 3:35 this afternoon. For your information, there is no time difference between Bali and Singapore. The local time now is 2:55.
For arrival card, please have declaration before proceeding to arrival information. Please approach the ground staff for more information. In preparation for arrival, please return to your seat, put your seatbelt upright, and fasten your seatbelt. Thank you.
Alright, now let's have a very quick look at the in-flight entertainment. I just realised a few minutes ago how close we really are to Singapore. It is only a 2-hour flight, but still the time has absolutely flown on this flight. Alright, so let's go to home. This is home. So I don't know why, and I've looked at other screens and it's the same on this flight. So I don't think it's normally like this, but you can't actually see any photos. And I think unless you press on it. But there's flight menus, Wi-Fi. Looks to be an extensive entertainment system. It's responsive, but surprisingly not really, really responsive. Because it is a very new plane. Anyways, let's have a look at movies. Browse all. There's a lot of different movies in many different categories. So let's have a quick look at Hollywood new releases. So there's 57 of those. I'm going to go through slowly so you can actually see the names of some of them. So there's quite a few new Hollywood releases there. Trending on Chris World, 12. And if we go back to new in July, 66. There's some relatively new movies there. So I'm not sure, there's not really a place where you can just see everything. But the entertainment is very extensive. This actually must closely rival Cathay Pacific, because Cathay Pacific has the best entertainment in the world. But this is really good as well. There's many pages and 168 Hollywood favourites. I feel like surely this must just be all Hollywood movies. But there's kids movies, sporting, there's lots of different categories that you can look at. But there's probably about 200 movies, so that's really good if you ask me. let's have a look at TV show. There's live TV as well. Browse or new on Chris World. So 74. Okay, so there's like a whole one for each season, and some of them have multiple episodes like this one, some of them don't. But there's 74, so that's pretty good. And now let's go back to, let's see what live TV there is. There's a few different channels as well, which is nice. BBC World News, that's good to have. Now there's music. You on board. Looks like there's quite a lot of movies as well. There's also podcasts and audiobooks. Overall, I think that the in-flight entertainment system is really good. It is what I'd expect from an airline like this. Again, if it's the world's best airline, my expectations are really, really high. However, so far, in basically every category overall, Singapore Airlines have met those extremely high expectations. I believe my next video, or the next one I'm going to be filming, should already be out, which will summarise if I think that Singapore Airlines is a 5-star airline and the world's best or not. But what I will say is that for this flight, it's been really good. And also, it's really nice size as well. Maybe I'm just not remembering correctly, but I feel like this is a little bit bigger than the A380's touchscreen TV. Oh, and just quickly, I will also show you the dimmable windows. Classic 787 feature. I might be wrong, but I think that Airbus might have announced their new A350s have a similar feature and it's a lot quicker, but it's still really good nonetheless. I'm not going to go the whole way. And the cabin temperature, by the way, it was a little hot on the ground, but since we've been up, it's been a perfect temperature for me. So overall, been a great flight with Singapore Airlines. As of about 5 minutes ago, we have started our descent into Singapore's Changi International Airport. I think we're making a very slight turn to the left. We are now just about to start our approach into Singapore's Changi International Airport. I think now's a good time to start the conclusion of today's trip report so you can see the approach. My journey today started at Denpasar's Ngurah International Airport. Look, I love it and I hate it at the same time. It's really slow getting through there, it's often quite hot, and it's always really, really busy, but it takes me to an amazing place and plane spotting is pretty good there. So, but yeah, as I was saying, check-in everywhere takes about 40 minutes. Security takes about half an hour, so you should leave a fair bit of time there. But I don't think much of that was Singapore Airlines' fault. They probably could have sped up the check-in process because there was one closed desk by maybe 5 minutes, but nothing much. And once we were through security, I found myself walking through duty-free and no lounge access today.
Can we through the landing stations now? Thank you.
We then went to the gate, which was originally meant to be gate 4.
Please ensure that your seatbelt is securely fastened. Thank you.
And once we got there, just chilled there and did some plane spotting for a while. Once again, has nothing to do with Singapore Airlines, but the Wi-Fi there is terrible, and it's terrible in a lot of places in Bali. And yeah, it just drops out all the time, and it just takes, it's only half the time does it actually take you to the portal where you can log into the Wi-Fi. But anyway, aside from that, when we had the gate change, I'm not sure whose fault that was, but basically the Air Asia plane and our flight swapped gates. So that was alright because they eventually did make an announcement. I kind of had already figured it out by then, but still. And not long later, we started boarding. I got priority thanks to my Velocity Gold status, So I got to board along with the business class passengers and Star Alliance Gold. Then once I got on board, I was greeted by some super friendly crew and also a very nice cabin, almost identical to the one that's on the A380 that I flew only a few months ago at the time of recording. But I got to my seats. It's really spacious. The seat is pretty wide and there's a lot of legroom. Not the most, but still quite a lot. And the seat features are also absolutely amazing. The only improvement that I can think of would be a double seat back padding. And then we managed to get in the air about, I think it was probably 15 minutes late or something like that. We have made up that time now, however. Once we were in the air, there were a few bumps here and there, but nothing much. And the crew, I mean, I wouldn't say it was quick, but it also wasn't slow. It was a good pace, at which they came around to hand out the service. I was very happy that there were two options. That's also what I'd expect. In terms of portion size, there's more than it looks like in the little box that I got. Still maybe not quite as much as some normal meal tray thingies, but it was still pretty good, and all of the food tasted absolutely amazing. So that's very good, and the drink service was also really good. And the entertainment, there was a bit of a hiccup at the start of the flight where it wasn't working on the phone, but now it is, once I've turned off my VPN, that is. And however, for some reason, and this is something that I would hope they fix, because I'm a Virgin Gold member and I put that in so I can get lounge access instead of putting in my Singapore Airlines. I'm going to check when I get to Singapore if I can add two. So I didn't put in my KrisFly number, but I do know it. So when I put it into the app to try and get some free Wi-Fi, it didn't accept it, and I assume it's because I put my Velocity number in. So that would be something that can improve. But as I said, service was great, crew were friendly, and the IFE was also really good. So overall, I had a spectacular regional flight today with Singapore Airlines for a 2-hour and 10-minute flight. I really can't fault anything or too much, if at all. So I would like to say Singapore Airlines have done an incredible job on this flight. I proceeded to conclude for about another 2 minutes, but I think it was a bit unnecessary to put all of that in the video, so if you have any further questions, feel free to put them in the comment section below and I'll try my best to answer them to the best of my abilities. Anyways, enjoy the approach. Welcome to Singapore.
Welcome to Singapore, ladies and gentlemen, and to all all Singaporeans arrested on Singapore, a warm welcome home. Please remain seated with your seatbelt fastened until the seatbelt sign is off. Please take care when opening the overhead compartments and remember to take all your belongings with you. It's been our pleasure having you on this flight. Thank you for flying Singapore Airlines, a member of Star Alliance.
Cabin crew, doors to disarm, thank you.
People were way ahead of the seatbelt sign there. Now time for disembarking. Took a few minutes, but it is a very long flight. Thank you very much. Bye-bye. Okay, here's business class. This is the regional business class. It's not their best one, but I wouldn't complain. It still looks awesome. Kind of capsule-like. Thank you.
Goodbye, sir.
Thank you, bye-bye. So first of all, I'd like to thank you all for watching today's video. A like and subscription, if you enjoyed, would be very much appreciated, but it's not necessary nor expected. But if you enjoyed the video and you'd like to see more of this kind of content, then a subscription would help me out a little bit. Also, check out my website if you like, at aviation763.com. for information on upcoming flights and easier navigation to specific airlines trip reports. Also check out my Instagram at aviation763_ if you like, where I do live updates of all my flights and also just cool stories and photos of everything from aviation to my end destination. Last but most certainly not least, thank you to all my incredible Patreons who help to make these videos possible. Their support is so much appreciated. And I couldn't do what I do without them, so their names will be on screen now. Once again, I'd like to thank you all for watching today's video. I hope you have an amazing day, and I look forward to hopefully seeing you in my next one.
Welcome to Singapore, ladies and gentlemen, and to all Singaporeans arrested on Singapore, a warm welcome home.